I am the founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. We work with executive women, high achieving women to help them really create well-being and balance and not burn out. So you don't have to step back from your career to have a beautiful life. You need to be enjoying your success now. So what I wanted to talk about today was the 4 traits of high achieving women, where we see over and over again executive women sharing a very similar psychology that in some ways works to your benefit as you climb the corporate ladder. It's a lot of times why you're in a position of high demand, in a position of great influence. But these traits can also work against you. So if you're a female high achiever, it's important for you to understand these traits, because when they are, they've become so ingrained as habits that they've become so part of your view of the world that it can be very, very hard to see them. And even some of the things I share with you today may challenge you, and you might think, oh, Kate, I disagree. That's okay. Just know that these are deeply ingrained behaviors that are born of beliefs that happened long, long ago in your past due to our culture, our parenting, things you may have experienced in school and childhood, et cetera, et cetera. And when you learn to tame these traits and understand them and control them, you will have amazing possibilities in your life. Life will be less stressful and more fun. So let's dig in. And again, I'm going to kind of look at my presentation because I didn't have it. It won't broadcast for you guys. But the big issue that we're really trying to solve here for executive women is, when is it my turn to relax and enjoy all this that I've put into? And I don't know about any of you who are watching, but if you can relate, I know when I was first promoted to vice president, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be great. You know, I have just been grinding it out for, a decade and a half. And now I get to enjoy life a little bit more. And what happened instead, hey, Christina, what happened instead is I was working even more than ever. The pressure was even greater. The stress was even greater. And it was really disillusioning to me and to so many women that we work with. It's like, wait a minute, I can't keep up this pace forever. Especially at this point, if you've added on, marriage, if you've added on children, if you've added on things in your life that you want to do, whether it's in your community, with a foundation, on a board of directors. How are you supposed to juggle all that and still show up and deliver at work? Okay. And the problem that we're seeing over and over again is that this very traditional method of building a powerful career, it's no longer working. We have been taught from a very young age that you need to just put your head down, get it done, sacrifice yourself for the firm, and that eventually, you'll arrive. And so that's the problem, right? We've all arrived. I am arriving. I've arrived. When do I actually get to enjoy it? And so there's never that payout. And what we're seeing is loads and loads of very prominent women who are stepping back from their career saying, look, enough is enough. I can't do this. Instead of really helping women succeed at creating this balance and creating this well-being, we have this culture, this methodology that just says, look, if you can't take it, then I guess you just need to, cut bait, and it shouldn't be that way. Okay. So where this is really specific to women as opposed to men, and it's not that men don't have balance issues or men aren't stressed, certainly they are, but women have a particular psychology where we're very afraid of losing our place at the table. It's been damn hard to earn our place at the table. I think if you guys will agree. And now that we have it, there's just this sense of, oh my God, I'm at the table. I don't want to lose it. And if you just think about that very naturally, men tend to have that less, like, of course I have a seat at the table. My husband's not running around going like, I wonder if I have a seat at the table. He's like, of course I do. For men, it's very natural. For us, it isn't. It is still a big deal to be an executive, to be a leader, whether it doesn't matter if you're a senior manager, director, C-suite, whatever. It's a big deal, okay, to have women in leadership positions. And so we're not recognizing that as a community of women that we're running scared a lot of the times. And if we are operating out of a place of fear versus out of a place of possibility, there's absolutely no way it's going to be sustainable. Okay, so this is just not an effective way to be an executive. And there's answers rooted in science. And you'll hear a lot of our broadcasts and a lot of what our company does is we really work in behavioral science. We work in psychology to help women understand this wiring, because these beliefs are not objective. They're not logical. It's not really rational. This is not really what's going on. There's a lot of different options to work differently and show up differently in your career. But it's so ingrained because the behaviors that you've had have gotten you to such a level of success. The thought of changing is frightening. And then you couple that with, oh God, I'm already scared I'm going to lose my place at the table. Now you're telling me to change the way I work, and it just becomes paralyzing. Okay. So it's no wonder we all feel like we're in a gilded cage. So I'm going to invite you on this broadcast today to open your mind to really a new level of thinking where a demanding career and a blissfully simple and just really, fun personal life is possible. Okay. I'm just going to have you open up your mind that it does not have to be a trade-off. Okay. You can go to work, you can do amazing things, leave a huge footprint in the world, and you can be relaxed, you can be mindful, you can enjoy your personal life at a very high level. They do not have to be mutually exclusive. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to consider that thought. So what does a thriving life look like? What does this look like? So let's just take it from a very simple perspective. And I'll tell you personally, for me, one of the things that frustrated me for so long in my career is that, I was no longer 22 and I had a muffin top. My skirts were tight. It was not really fun to be running around all over the world or all over my meeting space in tight-fitting skirts. I was excited that I finally had the income to buy some really fun clothes, and I was buying them 2, 3, 4 sizes bigger than I wanted to. And I felt really disappointed in myself that I wasn't able to keep up my health. And I knew I was letting myself down and I was letting my family down by not doing that. It's not a lot of fun to not get sleep, right? A thriving life is we get sleep. We get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, not fitful sleep, not worried, oh my God, I forgot to send that email sleep, not I'm up at 3 a.m. sleep. It's really restful where you wake up in the morning and feel refreshed. A thriving life means, and this was really big for a lot of the women we work with, that you can be soft and fun-loving when you're away from the office. My husband used to call it corporate Kate. He's like, oh God, who's going to come through the door tonight? Is it going to be corporate Kate? Or is it going to be, Kate, my wife? And that became such a running joke with us that now in his cell phone, it says Kate, my wife. So we want to, it's great to be a glass chewer in some ways. And certainly we do some pretty amazing things as high achievers, but we also want to come home and we want to snuggle with our kids instead of barking at them, or we want to come home and play footsie with our husbands instead of going through the laundry list of things that need to get done. For myself, I want to call up my girlfriends and really be there for them and not just be like, yeah, hurry up. I got to go. I got more things to do. Right. And so that softness for me was really important in defining a thriving life. And then energy, right? Like what we're seeing over and over again is that women they're getting through the day. And so work gets the best of us, our careers get the best of us, and then our personal life is getting the worst. So we come home and we're totally exhausted, mentally just out, because the mental exhaustion, the stress, and all these things I'm getting ready to share with you is running through our mind constantly. So the energy to just, continue to go the distance when the day is done and move into the next phase of your day, whether that's at 8 o'clock at night and it's dinner with your partner, whether that's 9 o'clock at night at the gym, or whether that's 5 o'clock in the afternoon because you're going to go, pick the kids up or whatever, right? So really having time to rejuvenate and then also take care of your own soul becomes bigger and bigger and more of a priority for us women as we age. I was not certainly as involved in my community when I was 22 as 42. It's important to me to be on a board. It's important to me to be involved in the community. It's important for me to be doing pro bono speaking and helping out at women's groups and some of the things that I do because it feels good and it's important for who I am. And when we're running ourselves ragged, then there's no time to do some of the things or the hobbies and things that we have, right? So that's, to me, what a thriving life looks like. It's going to be different for every woman, but this is what we see over and over again with our clients and the majority of the women we work with. So here's the traits. Okay, trait number 1 is that high achievers, this is no surprise, we want results now, okay? So if you want results now, that's great. But what it also means is that we can't wait till morning. There's always one more email in the inbox. There's always one more, analytics piece that needs to fall into place before we can rest. And when you want results now and you are wired that way to always want results, it's great to drive towards results and it's great to get big results and good results and success. But the fact that it always has to be on the high achiever pace, this is what's driving women to a point where 10, 15, 20 years into your career, you're completely exhausted because if it doesn't happen right now, then it's not good enough. So one of the very first things you have to realize is that this creates a great deal of impatience with your team, right? If you're working with people who may be incredible subject matter experts on your team, but they're not the visionary high achiever that you are, you lose patience with them very quickly. And then what happens? You step in and do it yourself. If it's not getting done fast enough, what we're seeing is women in incredibly high ranking positions stepping in and doing the details, right? And that's not what we want. So what you have to start asking yourself is, this action that I'm getting ready to take, is this really necessary right now in this moment, or is it a compulsion? And what we find over and over is when we can help women break through that compulsion, that need that it has to be done right now, and just evaluate and step back and say, whatever action I'm getting ready to take, does this have to happen right this second? And you can use this in your personal life too. Obviously, it doesn't just have to mean, my camera keeps sliding here. Let's see if I can fix this. Excuse me. It doesn't mean that this is only in your career, but because the career continues to sort of be omnipresent in our personal lives, a lot of that is because we're allowing it to. Instead of sitting down and saying, does this really need to happen this quickly at this pace? What's going to happen if we leave this till tomorrow? What's going to happen if we rescope the deadline? What's going to really happen, if we give this a night to sleep on it? Okay. Now, the next trait that everyone kind of shares, high achieving women shares, is that high achievers look for problems to fix. And so what happens is, we do believe it all has to happen now because there's always a problem to fix. Oh my God, I have to fix this problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. And we get such a high over problem solving. A lot of the women we talk with, they'll say, oh, I go home at night and I'm still thinking about work. I can't really disconnect. And I'll ask them, well, what are you thinking about? Well, I'm thinking about how to solve these problems. I'm thinking about what else we need to do. I'm thinking about it from other angles. And this, again, is part of some deep psychological wiring that says you cannot rest until your work is done. Okay, does that sound familiar? You may have been told this as a kid. You can't go out to play until your bed is made. You can't have your dessert until you've eaten your vegetables, right? Like, this is very common in our psychology. And because it's so embedded in our psychology, it creates this almost addiction or this compulsion to just work and work and work and look for new problems. When I first married, my husband, I first married 12 years ago, he would just look at me just stunned because we were moving into our house or something. And I was like, oh, we need to have the floors done. And okay, we got the floors done. And I was like, oh, now it's time to get draperies. And as soon as the draperies done, then we needed to paint the walls. And then it was just like, there was always something. And he was like, God, can you just sit down for 10 seconds and just like enjoy the floors? And I just thought that was such a strange perspective. I was like, well, why would you not just move on to the next thing and get it done? Because we like efficiencies. We like to get things done. The problem with this is we're never enjoying the moment, right? Have you ever heard someone say that to you? Like, you're just never happy. You're always, smell the roses along the way. High achievers, we're not very good at that. So if you don't learn to train yourself how to do that, again, at the executive level, you are going to burn out because there's so much more pressure. There's so much more gray matter. There's so much more, areas that are not well defined, that there's a lot more to think about cerebrally, right? You are going to be more mentally taxed. And if you're looking at everything as a problem that has to be fixed before you can rest, before you can take a break, absolutely, that's the road to burnout. So you have to rethink that. Now, you can see how each of these traits worked really well for you when you were younger, right? You graduate college and you get your first job. Oh, look at me. I fix all these problems. And because you're so good at fixing problems and looking for the next problem to fix, the next challenge, you get promoted very quickly. Okay. So this worked for you when you were younger. It's working against you now. Okay. So that is one of the most common things we see that really has to be shifted to avoid burnout or to really enjoy a high quality of life at that, while still having a demanding career. The third thing I wanted to share is that high achievers, we believe we are the best solution to any problem. And I call this lone wolf syndrome sometimes. Ultimately, one of the most profound things that happens for a lot of our clients as we start teaching them about human behavior and their own psychology is many of them are horrified to step back and look at their behavior in the workplace, third party, kind of have that, not third party, that, that distant view, and go, oh my gosh, it's like I show up for everything. I'm never not involved. It's the me show. And we do. And I used to do it too. We have a really hard time letting go. We have a really hard time believing that someone else can handle things as well as we can. We are so, it's so ingrained in us to know that we are high achievers. We're great. We're doing such amazing things. It's hard to believe that there's other ways to do things that will also get the job done. So where you really are doing yourself a disservice is that you're always in the middle of everything. Instead of recognizing, hey, look, now as a leader, my job is to support a team to go things done. What brings value is not me being in the room, is me knowing who to put in the room or who to invite or who else needs to come to the table. So it's really the softer skills that are really going to make you powerful and magical and valuable at this level, not you always being in the middle of it. And where we see women fall down over and over again, and men are so much better at this. I'm sorry to say that, is that women are just horrible at letting go of actually doing the work. Stop being the workhorse. You guys hear me tell you that all the time. This is, as a leader, you're not supposed to be involved in everything. You're supposed to be sending your team. You're supposed to be getting updates. You want to be, it's kind of that hourglass delegation, right? You want to maybe be there at the top, and then your team takes it over for the bulk, and then maybe you're there at the end, right? And it doesn't matter if it's client facing, doesn't matter who the leadership team is. There's times when you need to be involved in those things, but there's a lot of times you don't. So if you've got lone wolf syndrome, and again, it's a script, it's a compulsion, it's a part of your behavior that says, no, Kate doesn't understand. In my industry, I've always got to be there. You don't. And when you learn that there's thousands and thousands of other possibilities to problem solve, this is what's really going to give you freedom to relax and start enjoying your life instead of being like, oh, why is it always me? Why am I always the one that has to be in the room? Well, it's because you're always putting yourself in the room. And again, I was in denial of this for a long time in my career. And when I realized that I actually had a different role I needed to be playing, guess what? Life got a lot more fun. I was able to relax at night. I was able to unplug. My mind was not always on, and that's what you're looking for. But if you believe that you're always the best solution, then you're always going to be thinking of answers, and you're always going to be in the middle of it, right? So you are the best solution, but you're the best solution in a different way, right? And then the fourth thing is high achievers define their value via success. And I'm sure this is not a big surprise. None of us like to admit that our ego is wrapped up in who we, in what we do. But it's a real surprise for a lot of high achievers to recognize that they're just as valuable as a homeless person on the street. And I think logically we know that. If I ask you that on this, you would say in passing, well, of course, I'm not more valuable than anyone else. But deep down, we have a deep-seated belief that we are more valuable because of how hard we've worked, because of our talent, because of our acumen, because of what we're able to accomplish. And we live in an achievement society that says people who work hard are going to be more successful and are therefore more valuable. So the goal here is not to work less strategically. The goal is not to just unplug. The goal is not to drop the ball. But the goal is to define yourself differently. And that's probably one of the biggest pieces that we help our clients do, which is, look, you get to define success now. Right now, the reason you're in this gilded cage is because you're buying into this mantra that what you do is what defines you. And what you do is a piece of you, right? Defining yourself as a multidimensional woman who's in control and empowered of her own life, that's where the real fun, that's where it's really powerful. That's empowering. That's what really gets you to a place of, wow, I can walk into the boardroom, handle whatever situation comes up, and then I can go home and have dinner with my family and not sweat it, right? But if you're wired to think that everything you do is geared to your value and your ego is tied up in that, your esteem is tied up into that, then everything I've just shared with you, all those other traits, there's no way your subconscious would ever let you change the way you're behaving, because it is going to cling to this belief that you are only valuable if you behave in this way. Okay, and this is a deep-seated subconscious belief that if you change your behavior in any way, you will no longer be valuable. And that's what we see over and over and over again that really trips women up, is that we're afraid to lose our place at the table, but really what we're afraid of is that we're not going to be valuable at the end of the day if we change our behavior. Instead of saying, wait a minute, I do want to change my behavior. I want to learn some higher level skills so I can start living in freedom. And that is why so many women executives, so many high achieving women, because of this wiring, because of our DNA, like women will say, like, oh, I have a type A personality. No, you don't. You learn that. Okay. You're not born with a type A personality. You may genetically be predisposed more to some of these things, but personality is something that in the way we're using it in that term, it's something that's learned, which means it can be evolved and changed, right? So you can choose to stay trapped, or you can choose to say, wait a minute, there's got to be a way out of this gilded cage. Myself and my clients, we want to keep the gold and we want to get rid of the cage. Like, that's the gold. And it's not just about the money. Obviously, lifestyle is important, but it's about the work we do, right? It's like, if you are making a great impact, There's no reason that you should have to sacrifice yourself to have that impact or to have that lifestyle. It's about fulfillment, which is doing a career that you truly love and that fulfills you. And for most of us, high achievers means that that's a career that's demanding. It's about freedom to be able to live your life on your terms and not feel like you're always having to sacrifice yourself, your health, your family, your hobbies, the things that really make you a multidimensional and really interesting woman. And then third is it is the financial piece too, right? Why do we have to always step back and give up financial security just to have some freedom? Shouldn't have to be a trade-off, right? So our clients enjoy really a remarkable level of flexibility and freedom in their life because they now understand this underlying behavioral science and how it's working for them and against them in their psychology. So now they know how to tame it. Now they know how to control it. Now they know how to evolve and change it and get to a new level of walking into their workplaces and working differently. They're not putting up boundaries. They're not dropping the ball. They're not doing less. They're not doing more. They're not simplifying and all those sort of little hackneyed phrases that we use. They're working differently and they're working really empowered. They're finding new solutions, new ways to work, new ways to identify with success that has them then being able to unplug very powerfully, optimize their needs at a very high level, and start living just easier lives where it's like, God, I mean, that's the one word we hear over and over again from our clients. Kate, it's so easy now. Like, this is just transformational. Like, life is so easy now. It doesn't have to be high stress. But if you're defining yourself as valuable because you are thriving in a high stress environment and you're holding on to that as a marker of success, absolutely, it's going to be impossible to rewire that because it's too important. So, the real defining difference is learning how to be confident in your value, confident in your capabilities, and know that you're not going to lose your place at the executive table. And when you can feel that and you can see how to behave differently so that those things don't haunt you, the gilded cage opens and you get to go about the cabin as you please, right? So look, if you're a high performer, if you're someone who excels at what you do, if you're struggling with stress, if you're struggling with burnout, if you're living in a world where you're sacrificing your personal life and you're just tired of living that way, right? Like you're worried about the burnout or you're worried that you're going to end up just stepping back or imploding or just giving up the quality of life that you've worked so hard for, I want you to book a call with us, okay? So what we will do is in the course of 30, 45, up to an hour, we're going to chit chat about your career. We're going to talk about what's going on. We've seen it all. I mean, we work with companies that are highly toxic. We've worked with bosses that are amazingly poor. We work with women. Most of the women we work with are in some pretty high profile positions. So confidentiality is huge. I don't want anything to stop you. I want you to make sure that you're getting the resources and the help that you need to live a beautiful life and not burn out. Okay. So book a call with us. It's just on our website. You can go to KathleenByers.com /session, I think is what we do, or we can list it in the comments below here. Thank you guys. This has been a tremendously fun broadcast. I hope you've gotten a lot out of it. And again, every woman gets to live in freedom. You don't have to make a trade-off or a sacrifice for your career. And I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks, guys.